suspensions. What have we got?
Yeah, so Maddison obviously was a doubt for the Bournemouth game, but he obviously started the game and played very well, so he's going to be fit and available for this game. I don't think there's any new injury problems. Obviously, Udogie went off at the end of the Bournemouth game, but he said he's going to be fine and going to be fit and available. The only thing to note from Ange's pre-match press conference is he was asked whether he's going to make changes, and he said yes, he's going to make a few changes, but he noted that he's not making changes to give players a game. He's making the changes because the players were quite tired after the Bournemouth game, and he's going to need, if he's going to win the game, not just to simply give players a game, is he making changes. So I do expect some changes, essentially, from this game. But yeah, in terms of injury news, nothing new, I don't believe.
Nothing to note, yeah. All right, so let's get into it. 4-3-3 formation, obviously, and in goal, we are sticking with Venom Vicario.
Yeah, I think so. Look, for me, it's an important game, and I think that as much as Fraser Forster is our number 2, and maybe look, there's a chance that Ange just told him, look, you're my cup keeper, and he will come in. But I feel like, look, away at a Premier League team, I still think he's going to see this as a difficult game, and he's going to want as much a chance of winning the game as possible. And I think Vicario just suits the way Ange wants to play. There's no need to change a keeper just because of tiredness as well. So I think Vicario is going to keep his place.
Yeah, I mean, me and Sim were talking about this for about an hour. Who's going to play Vicario or Forster? I was kind of in the Forster camp. Sim was in the Vicario camp. And I kind of feel like if Forster's not going to play this game, he's probably never going to play unless Vicario gets injured. And we have seen, like in the past, our backup keepers come in the early rounds of the Cup. But we have gone with Vicario just because of what Ange said pretty much in his press conference, what Sim said before about picking a team to win the game and not just to give players a game. And also Vicario has been so good in the last 2 games as well. So maybe just to keep that form going. So Vicario in goal. Right back is a toss-up between Porro and Emerson. We have sided with Emerson because Porro has exerted a lot of energy in those last 2 games, had 2 really good performances. And Emerson did no wrong in the first game to really get dropped. So we think Emerson's going to come back in.
Yeah, he was dropped harshly, although you can probably say rightly at this point. But Emerson had a good start to the season against Brentford, although Rico Henry did give him a tough time going back the other way, but he did score a great goal for the equaliser. We know he can play this inverted role pretty well at this point. I don't think, and yeah, as you say, he's going to want to freshen things up, especially in those wide areas where those players exert a lot of energy. So I don't think he's going to have any hesitation being able to rotate the fullback. So we think Emerson comes in.
Right, centre back. It's a pretty simple one. Cuti Romero. I mean, I think it's so important because of the lack of depth we have at centre back. I mean, I think we kind of got no choice but to play these 2.
Yeah, and I think you're going to want a bit of stability, even though he's making changes. You've got to keep some players from the game, and I think the spine in terms of the defence, hopefully, will be that. And yeah, with Dyer's future up in the air, Tanganga's future up in the air, Sanchez's future up in the air, I think the smart thing to do is just to keep the same centre back pairing at the moment, so Romero keeps his place.
Yeah, and obviously alongside Mickey van de Ven, who's been a revelation since joining Spurs, and I loved his performance against Bournemouth. I thought it was top quality. Romero as well, to be fair, but I just felt like Van de Ven was just so important to us in the moments where Bournemouth were really trying to take control of that game. And if we do play Vicario, Romero and Van de Ven, it's going to be very hard for Fulham to try and get goals against us.
Yeah, I think so. And as I said before, I think with the other centre-backs future up in the air, you just need a bit of stability in this team to make sure that we're not giving away any stupid goals. And the best way to do that is to keep both centre-backs together. And I think Van de Ven's going to have to be, especially if Adama Traore is playing, he's going to might have his work cut out on that side, stopping those attacks at source, and it's going to be difficult. But I'm backing those 2 to have another good game, and they haven't conceded a goal yet when they're together. So let's hope that continues.
Yeah, amazing stats so far, unbelievable. And then the left back to finish off that back 4, we're going to go with Ben Davis as left back. I do have a feeling that could be Udogie could start this game, but we have just sided with Ben Davis.
Yeah, look, Udogie did go off obviously at the end of the game, but he is fine. I don't believe there's any kind of after effects of that injury. He just kind of kicked the ground, Ange said, but he wanted to stay on. He said Udogie wanted to stay on, but they decided with a few minutes left, let's just take him off. But Davis, to be fair to Davis, whenever he's come on off the bench this season, he's been pretty good. Did well against Man United when he came on, did well against Bournemouth with a little cameo. So I feel like he's going to want to put his trust in Davis, but I am worried about him because if Adama does start, I just think Davis at 30 years of age, I see him struggling to keep up with him. I mean, most defenders do at the best of times, but especially Davis, who's just not the quickest for a fullback. His pace is really not great, and if he's left in a one-on-one situation with Adama, I just see Adama burning him every single time. So I am worried about that situation, but I think Ange is going to want to trust him.
Well, let's run through that back line one more time. It's Vicario in goal, Emerson right back, Davis left back with Romero and Van der Ven in the centre back positions. When you're looking at the number 6, it looks as though, well, we think Bissouma will get a rest in this game and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg will come in, who's been brilliant so far this season whenever called upon, really.
Yeah, for me, like there's like there was some clips going around on social media of like him misplacing a pass, like I think I'm against Man United, and the caption was, "I can't wait for this guy to leave the club" and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know what you've been watching, because every time he's come on, he's been absolutely great. He's absolutely fine. Like I've had no
apart from him nearly giving Man United a goal,
yeah,
but apart from that
one moment that was what I was talking about. He was circling on social media, but like I think largely when he's come on, he's provided security, a bit of comfort. I think he's actually had quality going forward as well. We know he has that in him, in his locker, to pick out passes. I think he can play that number 6 position. The only thing I'm worried about is the biggest difference between him and Bissouma is just Bissouma's ability to drive with the ball, like when he press resistance, essentially. I do think Højbjerg struggles with that element of the game. That's part of the reason why I believe he's upgradable, because his ability to be press resistant is very, very limited. But I do believe if he's able to get time and space on the ball and look for passes forward, he's very capable of picking out forward passes and accurate passes as well. So I'm backing him to have a good game, but whether he can open up the space the same way as Bissouma can do remains to be seen.
Look, I don't think he can, but I mean, he does have his own strengths as well. And like you say, I mean, we've seen him play those progressive passes through the lines before. I know it's not anything to say because we've been a team managed by Conte and Mourinho over the past 3 years, but he is one of the ones from midfield that was consistently trying to provide for us going forward, as much as you don't really associate him as one of those kind of players. But I think he kind of gets a bad rap for just passing sideways and backwards, but that's not just his game, is it?
Definitely not, and the stats bear that out. He's consistently in the league amongst the highest number of progressive passes consistently, and people just focus on him paying it sideways and backwards because maybe he does it too often, a bit needlessly, when there are opportunities to play it forward, and I agree with that. But he definitely has the ability to play it forward with quality, and we've seen that before.
And I think Ange will be drilling that into him if he does start the game, to keep passing it forward, keep ball moving forward. So I think Højbjerg's due a good game, to be honest. Alongside him, we're going to look at Ollie Skip. I think out of the midfield 3 that we're going to pick, he's probably the one I worry about the most.
Yeah, look, hasn't shown it anyway. The quality, like those little moments that Sarr shows, not necessarily off the ball, but it's more about when he's in and around the box. You know, a little through ball to Maddison and the goal he scored against Man United, and that ability to get in the box and get shots off. That's what Skip needs to show he's capable of doing. Obviously, he got a double against Barcelona in pre-season, but whenever he's played in the Premier League, especially when he started against Brentford, he just hasn't shown that ability to find space in and around the box and get picked out and get shots off or provide quality with his passing. So definitely needs to up his game. I do think he's a player who's got more to his locker than he has shown, and I know off the ball as well, we know he always gives 100%, and he's not going to be a liability from that front, but we need more quality from him on the ball if he's going to be a consistent player for Ange.
Yeah, and to make up that midfield 3 with Giovanni Lo Celso, and he is going to be a key component in this team if we're going to get anything out of this game.
Yeah, he's going to be the one we rely on for creativity, and look, if he can put in performances that he showed in pre-season, we're not going to have a problem. I really believe he's got high ability. We know he's got a good vision. He's got a sweet left foot. He's got good dribbling ability. The only thing I think Maddison I would say has really shown over him right now is that ability to just kind of have that 360 swivel, like turn in any direction. I feel like Celso needs to show the confidence to be able to do that consistently, to wriggle out of tight spaces. But you give him a bit of space and he can definitely create chances, and I'm hoping he can do that on Tuesday night.
So Højbjerg, Skip and Lo Celso in the middle of the park. Let's move on to the front line, and it's going to be a debut on a starting debut anyway, in his old stomping ground, and that is Manor Solomon, and I'm very excited what he can kind of throw up in this game.
Yeah, we're thinking he's going to play on the right-hand side, which means if Fulham are going to play a first-strength team, that means Anthony Robinson is going to come up against, and he's quite a tough left back to face. He's got a lot of pace, so Solomon's going to really have to be at his best to get the better of him. As I've said before, him on the right, I think he can do the role, but I'm not crazy about him on that side. I think he's a bit limited, and I still have question marks over his final ball still when it comes to getting crosses in the box in the final pass. We all know he's got great dribbling ability and he can take a man on. So let's see how he performs in this game. But I think he deserves a start because his cameos have been bright. So I'm looking forward to seeing him from the very beginning in a competitive game.
Yeah, he does look impressive on the ball. It's just about what he does when he gets to those moments and on the ball, and if he can provide those assists and those goals that we desperately need. But we just haven't seen enough of him to really judge yet. So Solomon on the right. Up top, it's a toss-up between Richarlison and Heung-min Son. And we have sided with Heung-min Son for this one. We think Richarlison will come out, but in my opinion, with a view to come back in on the weekend.
Yeah, I think so. And also, Son's captain of the team. I think he'll want to play. I think he's going to want to be involved. Obviously, he's done very well when he's been played through the centre, and I think Ange would have noticed that. I don't think it would have gone over him. So I think when you're picking a striker for this game, especially the changes, Richarlison obviously went off after the hour on the weekend. Maybe could potentially have been feeling a bit tired. So we're thinking because he's the captaincy, he wants that responsibility. We think he's going to start through the centre in this one.
And then finally, to make up that final 11, we're going to put Ivan Perisic on the left. And I've been impressed with him so far. I thought his best cameo of the season came in the last game against Bournemouth. I thought he was really important to us for going and grabbing that win. He was relentless on that left-hand side and creating a lot for us. And I think he'll be important again this week, tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. The only frustration I would say with Perisic coming in is you would feel like Perisic starting, that would be so much more suited to a Richarlison in the forward line than a Heung-min Son. So if it does go this way, I feel like Son linking out with Perisic, we've seen that there could be issues there. The way Perisic likes to cross the ball, like a lot of floated crosses and stuff like that, that's a lot more suited to like a Richarlison getting on his head to it or getting in the box than maybe a Son. But to be fair, Son and Perisic have linked up quite well in the little cameos that we've seen when they both on the pitch and Son goes central. So I'm not worried about it, but I would say if I was Richarlison, I'd be a bit annoyed that if Perisic gets to start, he would be on the bench.
Yeah, I think even with Perisic's cameos, Richarlison has been off the pitch every time Perisic has come on. It's been probably quite frustrating for Richarlison because, like you say, Perisic has got the best cross in our squad and Richarlison's probably the best in the air out of the front three as well. So I'd like to see them two start together, but in this game, I think it will be Perisic, Son, and Solomon as well. So that is our predicted lineup. Let's go through it one more time, top to bottom. In goal is going to be Venom, right back Emerson, left back Davis, Mickey van der Ven and Coutinho Romero in the centre-back positions. Højbjerg, Lo Celso, Skip in the middle of the park with Perisic and Solomon supporting Heung-min Son. In terms of score predictions, Sim has gone for 2-0 to Spurs. I've gone for 2-1 to Spurs. So that is our predicted lineup and predicted scorelines. Let me know yours in the comments section below.